Unlucky Gamer 69 says, hypothetically, would the trunk of your car fit a person I'm asking for a friend? Well, it certainly would. I don't know what you are planning to do, but make sure that you have an alibi and know it's not me, because it sounds like you're about to commit murder. Time on the board, a-hole here, and as we have entered another month, we always like to do a Q&A during that period, but I thought, man, we can do Q&As until the cows come home, and we absolutely will, but wouldn't it be much more fun if we got a bunch of random quick-fire questions, tried to make them as weird as possible? I mean, I asked for weird ones. So I'm sure some will be weird and some won't be weird, because sometimes people don't even see the weird bit. Anyway, let's not muck around with it. Please do hit that subscribe button, and yeah, you've thrown a bunch of questions at me, and I'm going to answer them as quick as I possibly can. And we start with Andrew, who says, you are stuck on a desert island with 3 other wrestlers from any promotion. Who are you choosing? Well, I choose Braun Strowman because he's a really big guy, and therefore if we need to eat him and there's no food that we can, I would also pick Vince McMahon. Does he count a wrestler? Because think about the amount of questions you could ask him and it'd be really interesting. And the final person I would pick would be Britt Baker, because then if my teeth go bad, she can sort me out. Unlucky Gamer 69 says, hypothetically, would the trunk of your car fit a person I'm asking for a friend? Well, it certainly would. I don't know what you are planning to do, but make sure that you have an alibi and know it's not me, because it sounds like you're about to commit murder. Chris says, WWE, AEW, New Japan, who would you wrestle for if you could wrestle one person from each company? Man, a lot of wrestling questions. WWE, I would wrestle Roman Reigns because it means I'm at the top. New Japan, I would wrestle Okada because it means I'm at the top. And AEW, I would wrestle Kenny Omega because it would mean I was at the top. Carl says, hey Simon, would you ever consider being my dad? That's not really the question I wanted to ask. Damn it, I've wasted my question. Anyway, if you had to be a car for the rest of your life, like your arms and legs with the wheels, what car would you be and why? Well, I don't really think I can consider to be your dad. I think that's more of a biological thing, although not always. You can adopt kids, so I suppose, yes, you can bring people on board as your dad, so sure, I will consider it. If I was going to be a car, I would be a Lamborghini Diablo, mostly because I used to love those cars. I was a kid. I've changed my mind straight away. I'd be the Batmobile, because then everybody would think I was cool. Darth No Shitam, what name that is, says, why do you refuse to react to parkour fails? I've never even heard of such a thing before. I mean, I know what parkour fails are, but I don't know if I've ever refused to react to it, but sure, we can do just that. UT says, would you rather have super long hair or eat only anabolic foods for every meal? Don't really know how that's an either or. So I either have super long hair or I can only eat anabolic foods for every meal. Well, I guess I would choose the food. AL Fitness says, will there ever be a boy born that can swim faster than a shark? I will go with yes. The evolution process keeps on going. We are seeing crazy things happening all the time. I hope that one day not only will we have a person that can swim faster than a shark, but also that we will develop laser eyes. Joseph says, would you choose weightlifting for the rest of your life and be single, or be in a relationship and can never lift again? Just make sure nobody is in earshot. I would choose weightlifting. Shh. Tony says, how many times have you heard the Simon Says joke? So many times that if one person says it to me again, I'm going to say, Simon Says, break your skull. Zuri says, you're in the middle of a squat set when you realize you've got to poop. Do you try and finish and hold it, or run to the nearest restroom? Well, I run to the nearest restroom because I can always come back and redo my squat or start again. But what I can never take out of my brain is the fact that I crap myself in the middle of the gym. Daryl says, what superpower would you rather have? The ability to fly or heal quickly? It's always flight. It's always flight. Flight would be the coolest thing ever, and you'd be able to make yourself a hell of a lot of cash. Ohio MTG says, you're for some reason being forced to get a tattoo of a wrestler's face on your bald head. What face are you picking? I would pick the Macho Man Randy Savage because he was a colorful character, and at least my head would then have color. Gnoff says, do you polish your head? No. Andrew says, favorite protein brand? Do you prefer whey or a different type of protein? Well, my favorite protein is Dymatize Isolate 100, but I don't drink that much whey because it screws up my skin and my stomach because I'm an absolute asshole. So I go for egg protein. I get it for my protein. It's nice and simple and it does the job. Joe says, what title would you prefer? World's Strongest Man, Mr. Olympia, World's Fittest Man, or the highest raw powerlifting total of all time? I'd always want to be Mr. Olympia. As much as I like strength and being a powerful guy, the aesthetic is what makes me most excited, and the fact going to the gym. So yes, I'd be Mr. Olympia, but I will tell you now that is never going to happen, very sadly. CJ says, if you had to take another bald gimmick, would you rather be Bastion Booger, a bushwhacker, or Bam Bam Bigelow? Oh man, Bam Bam Bigelow, absolutely. Bam Bam Bigelow not only main evented a WrestleMania, but he was going to be a top guy. He just fell into some issues with politics and personal issues. Bam Bam Bigelow kicked ass. Dragon says, hi Simon, hope you're well. My question is it scarier to think we are alone in this universe, or scarier to think that we aren't? Well, I think it's scary both ways, because if we are the only thing on this universe, in this universe, what the hell happened? And if we're not, when are we going to meet the great unknown? If you're asking me if I do think there's little green men running out there, probably not, but do I think there's life? Yes. Mad Biochemist 16 says, have you ever gotten your teeth energy levels read? I certainly have. Of course I have. I think most people that go to the gym get intrigued to some point, and now you can just go onto these websites on the internet, and they cost a hell of a lot of money, but you can do it, and my intrigue always got the better of me, and surprise, surprise, I had normal testosterone levels, and I don't want to ruin many of your people's dreams, but it's going to be the same for most of you as well. Harm says, deadlifts on pull day or leg day? Always pull. S. O'Neill says, hopefully it's Sam O'Neill, him of Jurassic Park fame, best thing to come out of the 2020-2021 lockdown for you, if anything, this YouTube channel. I always wanted to give fitness a go. Would I have done it if I didn't have the extra time on my hands? I do not know, and now we are doing it, and it's lovely and rosy, and I get to talk to people like Sam Neill, who was a terrific actor. Dylan says, how many toddlers could you beat in a fight at once? I reckon I could take about 80 before getting overwhelmed. Well, given that a toddler would just crawl around on its hands and knees and wouldn't know what was going on, you could probably take on millions. Because even if you tell a toddler, go and fight that guy, they're just going to go goo goo gaga, and they're probably going to spit up some sick. So you could probably take on the entire population of toddlers and win. L. Tony Tactics says, are you excited for the Euros, or to be more exact, is it coming home? I am excited for the Euros. Do I think it's coming home? E.g., do I think England are going to win? No. But, you know, that's just my gut feeling. Of course, I would like them to, but I am excited about it. If I had to pick a team, I'd be boring and pick France. Dub for Sam says, are you planning any collaborations with other YouTubers? I absolutely am. There's a few messages I have to get back to, but I suck at getting back to messages for many, many reasons. But if you are a YouTuber and you'd like to get in touch and do a collaboration, please do. Jacob says, if you were a flower, would you want others to smell you? Well, yes, I think that you would, because I think that's kind of half of your existence, as well as sort of, you know, making sure that humans don't die in a weird way. But yes, I think I would like to be smelled, and I would like to see the individual who did the smelling go, By X Malarkey says, we all know you love the gym and wrestling, but what is another hobby or thing you do that we don't know about? Well, the major one would be playing guitars and being in bands and such things like that. Music is a massive passion of mine, in fact, one of my biggest passions. But we have talked about that before. Otherwise, I love Batman, but given that I've already turned myself into a Batmobile, you probably know of that one. I like to cook, but that's not really a hobby. I just do it every now and then. I always said that I fell in love with everything that I really was going to be super passionate about at 16. So it was wrestling, it was going to the gym, it was Metallica, it was Batman, and I think that's pretty much it. Metal. Steven says, honest question, as big of a guy as you are you into golf? How far can you whack the big stick? Love your content. I do like golf, but I've never got around to playing it properly. I want to go do 18 holes and start on a pitch and putt, and I plan to do that now that lockdown is lifted, so hopefully we can revisit this question soon. Anna says, do you like Taco Bell? If so, what's your typical order? Right, I've wanted to go to Taco Bell for my entire life, and every time I'm in America, I never get around to it, but one day I want to go to Taco Bell. It's why I'm excited. Like 25 minutes away from me, a Wendy's just opened, and if you do live in America like Miller, that's not exciting. For me, a stupid British person, it is. Alicia says, would you let your significant other know if they're gaining a lot of weight? If so, how would you do it? Well, I actually had this conversation with my girlfriend the other day, and she said that she would want to know, but she would just want me to approach it in a very delicate and sensitive way. So, of course, I get a megaphone and go, you're fat now. Of course, I'd never do that. I would just bring it up, and I'd want her to tell me as well. And she could use the megaphone. I would just like the information to get into my head. Debed Schauber says, are you able to play the rhythm guitar on Thunderstruck? I mean, everybody should be able to play the rhythm guitar on Thunderstruck because AC/DC are badass. Andrew says, what do you think Arsenal need to improve on? Everything. Pretty much everything. What I would do is I would sell the majority of the team and I would start buying afresh, because as much as I like Aubameyang and Lacazette, they finished just like 9th or 7th or whether the hell it was. That's not what we need. Now, obviously, if you can get a few better players in that's going to benefit those guys, don't sell them. But I think ultimately we probably need a defensive midfielder and a creative midfielder that's really going to put some oomph into the side, but that's just the start. We need at least 6 players. Stuart says, would you rather have just eaten What's-It fingers the rest of your life or have uncomfortable gym flatulence every time you lift? Well, I guess it would be What's-It's fingers. That genuinely is the weirdest question so far, but we're going with What's-It. Mad Biochemist is back and says, do you like working out with alone or with a partner? Well, I do enjoy training with my girlfriend, but actually I like training alone. I think it's a time you can just get rid of your problems and not focus on anything else and kind of lose yourself with the music, so I would always pick myself. John Player says, would you rather sit on a cake and eat a male reproductive organ or sit on a male reproductive organ and eat a cake? Well, I guess I'm going to eat the cake, because at least then if I'm eating the cake, I've got some enjoyment from this very strange scenario that you have presented. My friend, you have a weird brain. Joe says, you could only eat one thing for every meal for the rest of the life. What would it be? I would just pick pizza, even though I'd be a big fat guy. Olympic Grade Lurker says, is the Queen really a reptile? You'd have to ask her, but I think the answer is yes. Mythroth says, have you ever had your underwear ripped in the gym while squatting? Many a time, and while doing deadlifts. And it's not really my underwear, it's my pants or my trousers. Sometimes they rip, and really you should take great pride in that, because it means you're lifting a lot, or it just means you bought crappy clothes. Dylan says, what's your favorite guitar riff you like to play, the spider riff in Master of Puppets. Sockman says, what do you think about Rayman? I love Rayman, and there's rumors that Ubisoft may be announcing a new Rayman game this week, and that is true. I will be a happy chap. Bonnie says, do you powder your head so there's no shine during your videos? No, I do not, but it has happened before when I've done more, let's say, high-end quality productions. They will make up and powder my head, and it always makes me feel a little bit taken care of. Jam says, congratulations, you can turn invisible. What do you do first? I turn invisible. Mad Biochemist Exact again and says, how long do you spend at the gym? Well, it all depends on what I'm doing, but I would say on average around about 90 minutes. Anos Tazios says, train wearing just a thong in the Fitness Palace of Love or only work out at home? It would have to be only working out at home, because if I was training in a thong in the middle of the Fitness Palace of Love, I wouldn't be able to do anything, because secretly, internally, I would be having a breakdown. Will says, would you have a boxing fight with a kangaroo? Absolutely, and given the way that boxing has gone, I'd probably be paid $72 million, so I'm alright getting knocked out by a kangaroo. Swole says, is your girlfriend older or younger or the same age as you? It was actually her birthday the other day, so happy birthday to her. She is a few months younger than me, so essentially we're the same age. Northhoff says, least favorite member of what culture? Me. Lloyd says, bigger calves or long hair again? Do you know what? I'd actually pick bigger calves. Or maybe I wouldn't. I would like long hair, but I think when push came to shove, I'm so used to my bald head now, I picked the big calf. Most of the people on the internet was like, oh, Millie, your calves are crap. Tony says, favorite video game of all time, The Legends of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Charlie says, would you rather snort a fart or eat it? Nobody wants to eat a fart, do they? No, eating the fart is worst. I will snort it up. Emil says, warm beer or cold beer? The answer is actually no beer, because I don't drink. Kez says, your favorite color? Blue. Tony says, your favorite Spice Girl and why? Man, I can't even remember the Spice Girls, so I will go with Baby Spice, because that's the first one that came into my head. Offie says, give a shout out to your favorite school teachers. Did they see the wrestler in you? Well, I don't think they saw the wrestler in me. The main teachers I remember is Mr. Perry, Mr. Oliver, Mr. Detheridge, and I think that may be it, which is probably bad, but those three especially must have had some kind of impact on me, because again, I remember their names. Shoe Lake says, you were part of the WrestleMania main event. Which wrestler would you choose to work with, current or past? Bret the Hitman Hart, because even if I'm crap, he'd make me look good. Sandman says, how many babies could you defeat in a Royal Rumble style match where it starts with you and one baby, then every other 2 minutes another baby enters the ring? All babies in question will be under 5 years old. Now, this is the second toddler question we've got, so I'm starting to get very worried about my community, but I go back to what I said earlier. I would win the Royal Rumble, because a baby won't even know that it's meant to throw me over the top rope, although I would struggle massively by taking a toddler and try and chuck it over the top rope. Christian says, would you accept a full head of hair but a very hairy butt? You know what, I would. Nobody sees my butt, so who gives a flub? John's Junk and Other Stories says, what in your opinion would be the best alternative to peanut butter if you suffer from an allergy? Well, I think PB Fit, which is the peanut butter powder, but I don't know if it's actually got peanuts in it, so you should absolutely check that. Otherwise, I wouldn't want to make that call. It's a medical question. You should talk to your doctor and hopefully they can help you out. AD001 says, do you still work in Asda? Well, I never worked in Asda, so no. Anastasios is back and says, finish post-hardcore new metal or Italian glam rock? Well, I think long-term, probably Italian glam rock is just easier to listen to. Benjamin says, would you rather be able to bench 220 kilograms and not look like it, or be able to bench 220 kilograms but look like you could? As we already said, I would rather look like I could but not be able to do it. Strength is cool, but having veins sticking out of your massive bicep, well, that's just cooler. Joel says, will you marry me? I'll shine your beautiful bald head every single night. Or why not? Andrew says, do you watch or follow any strongman competitions? I will watch as many strongman competitions as I possibly can, especially World's Strongest Man. It usually airs over here in the UK towards the end of the year, over the New Year period, and it always puts a smile on my face. Zan says, is this statement true, bald is sexy? Please show how you worked out your answer. Well, I would say that bald is sexy, but I have to say that, otherwise I'm going to start to cry, because you have noticed, I am bald. Charlie says, have you ever farted in bed and put your head under the duvet to see how good it smells? No. Unknown Wav says, beef or chicken forever, pick one. Chicken. Apex says, do you find American English weird? What are some common words we use that you find odd or strange? No, I don't find it weird. In fact, I use a lot of it, like aluminum and semi, and there'll be other ones that I can't even remember now. Data, I don't say data, I say data, and I actually do say semi, and I actually do say aluminum. No, you say aluminum. We say aluminium. See, look, it's getting me already. Jeff says, are you more of a dog or cat person or perhaps a different pet? Well, I will tell you a quick story, Jeff. I'm absolutely terrified of animals. I was attacked by a dog when I was but a small boy. It left a massive scar across my chest, which thankfully has faded a little bit now. But yeah, it literally and figuratively scarred me to such a degree that even if I'm in the room with a dog or another animal and it's kind of being a bit energetic, I get scared, because that's what can happen to you when you were young. Hero Frozen says, what is your quest? To win. Barney says, ever still think of the one who got away? Absolutely not, because there's no such thing. If they got away for a reason. And right now, I think my girlfriend is the one that got away, but she hasn't got away yet, which means I'm happy. Sean says, what's the most painful move in wrestling to take? A flipping chop or anything where you get hit in the balls. Murias says, do your biceps have its own brain? That would explain the slapping your head on the Y videos. Well, I hope so, because they have their own brain. Surely they'd be able to get bigger than they already are, but they're not getting bigger than they already are, so sadly the answer is no. And boom, that was a weird one to end on, but there you go, 72, maybe 71, because I think one of those questions was actually a repeat, but you know, I'm pretty sure I added 72, so we'll see what goes down. Just something different for a Tuesday, because why the hell not? Thank you very much for your questions. Now, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Hit the bell ding ding so you know when other videos are going live. You'll get a notification. There's another video right there. Give it a click. Make sure you download the Power 13 cookbook. The link is in the description below. You can use the code Simon15 to get 15% off. Make your diet nice and healthy and hopefully help you lose some weight. Come support me on Patreon if you're able to. Patreon.com/Simon316. Twitter and Instagram is at Simon316. Merchandise is simonmiller.bigcartel.com. Otherwise, I appreciate you clicking the click button. That's all I really need from you, and I will see you on the next one.